There's no one around me, by the way. um, so during the pandemic here in Cambridge, I was sitting in my house and we were all mired in our cells. And what I found was I needed more to do. And so a gentleman from our neighborhood named Santos Carrasquillo, um, he loves the community and he knocked Tony, rang my phone, Tony, come on down, let's start talking. He said, Tony, get involved with the garden. So I live at Squirrel Brand for 13 years and I never got into the garden. I mean, frankly, I didn't never see a lot of people in the garden. Not a lot of people who look at me.
Uh-oh.
We hang out in the garden. I'm like, I think because we abandoned plots here at Squirrel Brand. Our hope was to really, my hope was that, and our hope was that we could plant and that we could have food for the community. Frankly, some of us had jobs who were a part of this crew, and frankly, some of us had jobs. And we didn't necessarily need the food, but we knew that there were people in our community who did. So we went about the process of trying to contact the garden coordinator of the Squirrel Brand Garden. There are 14 gardens in Cambridge, and Squirrel Brand is one of them. And we tried to call her and get in contact, and there was some communication, but a lot of it was walls. A lot of it was reasons why we could not plant. Alas, we didn't mess with anybody's garden plots. We messed with our own. We made lots of food. We gave it away. And when I say we, primarily it's me, Toni Bee, Santos Carrasquillo, who is he has a company called Fig, and he also is he's a founder of Crabapple Gardeners, and he's the co-founder of Cambridge City Growers. And also a young woman named Maham Rizvi. She's pretty much a scientist. And so all three of us, we've been hanging out in the garden, creating community, and frankly, we gave food away that we grew in our plots. The problem may have come after the garden coordinator told us sometime in late September, you all can help clean up the garden. That's what we were regulated to. We were regulated to helping to clean up the garden, and we did that. And in that process, we collect seeds. Then we found out through a source that shall not be named. We found out through a source that someone had made a police report with the Cambridge PD, and they claimed that someone was vigilante gardeners, and no names were called, and there were vigilante gardeners, and we stole $1,200 worth of seeds. This is after us being told and being allowed to clean up. So where does that leave us? That leaves us as a heap of Black and brown people who at the end of a growing season, after we truly tried to communicate with the coordinator, it leaves us at the end of a growing season, frankly, apprehensive to engage in gardens at all because we were patient. This is a community garden. Surely we could have not listened to anyone and took over the plots and planted and gave the food away. We were patient. And in our patience, we still got a police report on us. I am here to say, welcome to the garden. Welcome to all 14 gardens in Cambridge. Black and brown people and all people should be welcome at the gardens in Cambridge. If you have heels, if you are a transgendered woman who is 6'2" in heels and you have dreadlocks, welcome to the garden. If you are a 6-year-old who is peach and you come here with your single mommy and her partner, welcome to the garden. Black, brown, Haitian residents. There are 14 gardens here in Cambridge. Did you know that you can apply and be a part of the garden. So, as a poetry ambassador of Cambridge, and as poet populist emeritus of Cambridge, there's people coming. We might put up. There's more folks coming to the garden, which is beautiful. Some folks who we've met for the first time. Hello. We have some garden folks. We've never met these folks. Welcome. Great to see you. We have some new garden people. Hi. Thank you. And I just wanted to show some folks. I'm not going to talk too much, a little bit, but I'm not going to talk too much. Because really, we're here to just have a presence in the garden, in the park. I'll tell you how I've had poetry in the park events in the past. At least 4. And at least on 2 to 3 times, the police have showed up. I've never said anything before. Hi, Lynn. I've never said anything before in the past because when Black and brown people gather, sometimes people call the police and sometimes the police show up and tell you to turn it down. So I figured that's just what happens. I'm used to it. But the garden was great therapy for me. And I thought that it was wonderful to be involved in it. And I'm pretty apprehensive now. Should I be in the garden? Anyway, this is my way of saying I should be in the garden and a whole bunch of other people should be in the garden. So Chad, I'm just gonna stop talking now because today what we're gonna present to you, I can't move around too much because my connection is lost. But Chad of Stone Soup Poetry, he's hosting this event. He has a list of names. He's helping me coordinate this. Thank you. Stone Soup Poetry is my house of poetry. There are people here. So every once in a while, hi friends. Hi Chen. We have Chen of Cambridge City Growers here. Hi Laura. We have Maham here. And she's a crabapple gardener, if you see. We have Hatch Starrett, and he is Home Streets. Hatch is one of our biggest supporters, and unfortunately, he too got kicked out of the garden about 7 years ago now. So Chad, you want to take it away? You know, this is an event about all others, but this also is an event about like kids. I know Black and brown people and people of color can be in the garden. And so can we start off this event with a video from a Black and brown person? Would that be okay with you all? Chad, can you take it away? I know that I sent you some information. Chad, Tizinia has a beautiful garden. We'll hear from so many Cambridge poets. I'm going to be quiet now. I'm talking too much. I'm in.
I'm just about to start the video from, I think it was the first video that you gave me, and I'm luckily able to share my audio with everyone. So I'm going to do that right now and have your friend kick things off. So if you guys will humor me for just a moment. I'm able to not just share the screen, I'm also able to share computer sound. So we're going to do that right now. And let's see how this works out.
Hello, loves. It's your girl Sublime Love here. I am honored that Toni asked me to be a part of Poets in the Garden. I actually have a piece that I just wrote that goes perfectly with the theme that I'm about to read to y'all. But just a reflection on what nature and gardens mean to me is I feel like the roots, the soil, we're all so deeply rooted within nature. We're all interconnected, right? Like it's the soil that gives us our food. The best food for us is pure food that's not processed, right? Like I feel like Black people, we're from the motherland, Africa. Like we are the originators of agriculture, farming, crops, right? So like I think of just how beautiful we are as Black people and how we have redefined our relationship with nature over time and how we are, coming back full circle into gardening, into, sustaining ourselves, growing our own food. I love the fact that nature inspires me. Whenever I'm around it, present for it, immersed in it, I definitely write about it. Nature makes me feel at home, makes me feel alive. So I'm just going to get into this poem. It's called Roots, and it's dedicated to all the women in my family that came before me. And I'm just getting to it real quick, and then I'm going to read my next one. So roots. I come from strong trees, planted deep in earth, ever flourishing. Bark in every shade of brown. I was raised by Amazon women. Their leaves always provided shade from the scorching sun. I was placed in nutrient-rich soil. My queens gifted me rain, pushing up my growing branches to the sky. My circumference grows, more immense each day. When they come to gaze at me in praise, I will forever point out my roots. Okay, so this one is brand new. It's new shit, as all the poetry spaces like to call it. It's called Flowers. I recently wrote this maybe no more than like 2 weeks ago, so I haven't had a chance to memorize it yet. I'm just gonna read it to y'all. Again, it's called Flowers. I silenced my voice over a long period of time, afraid that my truths would act as bullets and a battlefield would become the bed. I never quite grasped the power of my flowers, how I speak my words. They could have saved me years, if only I took the time to plant them properly. My soil froze as times grew more difficult. I forgot how to stand on my own, codependency. Flowers decorated the depth I was immersed in, made everything appear pretty, and at least I was warm, cared for. Guilt buried my flowers deeper as I morphed into a woman I did not know. There wasn't just one cause of this. When I came up for air, found a space for me, air to breathe, the spring made the soil soft. I knew that planting was necessary. When my flowers bloomed, I wanted to give truth, a reflection of the best times and the worst times, an answer to the question, elephant in the room. My flowers spread carefully out of my lips, and I still couldn't share them. Even now, I fear battle. Flowers are never as strong, as fast as a bullet, so precise and cunning, piercing through skin. And I still silence my voice, praying that the colors of my flowers will be witnessed someday, or maybe in another lifetime. So yes, I hope y'all felt that. Please do follow me. I'd love to connect in the internet world, which is fake life, and hopefully that translates into real life after this pandemic is over. I'm at Miss Sublime Love on most social media. That's MSSUBLIMELUV. So love, I spell love LUV instead of LOVE because it signifies revolutionary love. That's love for oppressed peoples, Black love, gay love, trans love, and disabled love. We really need revolutionary love today. So follow me, y'all. Miss Sublime Love. Thank you again, Toni, for having me. Peace.
Okay, the clapping means that the audio worked. That you're all like, bad. Come on. Okay, great. So thank you guys very much. And Toni, if you want me to start the virtual open mic over here, I'd be more than happy to. But if you have someone over there who wants to read on your end, let's have a go at that as well. Okay, so we seem to have lost Toni in the in a what seems like she was moving against her will, but hopefully everything is okay, and we will get.
Please.
Whoop.
I'll be quiet.
Okay, did you? Okay, I didn't know if you want anyone to read on your end.
Yes. Yes. I would love for Doug Holder to read. Doug Holder is an awesome man who is for so many years. You want to take it away, Chad?
Okay, then let's bring it over to Mr. Holder, sir. You are.
Thank you, Chad. I'm glad to be here in support of the 14 gardens in Cambridge, Massachusetts. In terms of, I'm not much of a nature poet, but I do enjoy nature. I go, especially now, I have to get out and walk, and I walk along the Charles River. I walk, I go out in Harvard Yard and read a book. I try to get out a few hours every day. Otherwise, I go literally crazy in nature. It's certainly an elixir for, me. And so I appreciate parks and parkland and the urban village. So I'm just going to read a few poems, some are nature-based. It's from my book, The Last Night at the Worst House. Some of you will remember the Worst House in Cambridge, a nice German pub, and I was right across from Harvard University. I used to go there a lot. And then the book was generally about things in Cambridge. So the first book is No Man Steps into the Same River Twice. That was from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Heraclitus. And so here it goes. Put your foot in the water again. The river engulfs your toes in a serpentine swirl. You feel the hard grain of the dirt bed, but something's amiss. Could it be the fins of that minuscule fish? The ripples on the water, its scribble now an indecipherable text. The clouds above are not parted. The beams of light still in the closet. The iconic rock a wee bit diminished. The stone face cracking. Yes, something is lacking. And the tree and the bird perched on it sings a new beguiling sound. And I guess this is about wildlife. It's called, the gourmet food shop, Savinor's. I wrote a poem a while back, Wild Boars at Savinor's, because they always have exotic food there. Imagine what a place for wild boars, pressed into a tame tenderloin for the most cultivated and savage Cambridge tongue. And forgive me, I slip away to the Hong Kong and gorge on an unapologetically greasy egg foo young. And the final poem will be I think we all remember our first apartment. So usually it's not the best. I remember living in an apartment in the Back Bay in a room in 1978 after I got out of college. So here it is. I woke up by the lethal click of a mousetrap, death by the seduction of peanut butter. The black backs of roaches scurry to work when the light switches on, and the cackle of the cracked wooden floors to the bathroom down the hall. I do a litmus test with a thin sheet of toilet paper on the throne seat. The phlegm cough of the pensioner next door, the waft of red sauce streams through the window from Davio's below. A fragrant and stale front, neat for a weather change in my room. The shadow silhouettes of college girls across the alley, a nightly screening, rated R, wishing for X. And the stench, the screech of the feral cat, the car, a pen, a paper, my door just slightly ajar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doug. And checking, we have a lot of people joining us today. This is great. And a lot of people, I'm sure, joining Toni on her end as well. It looks to be a busy day down in the garden. We're going to go to the person who I think was either the first or second to join us in the open mic, who's coming to us all the way from Long Island. So it'd be great to hear from him today. So we can welcome up next, a regular of many open mics and many venues. Let's welcome up Mr. David Miller.
Oh, thanks. Oh. Wait, I think Toni might be saying something.
Oh.
Should I be saying something now?
Toni, I'm not sure what you said just now.
Yeah, on Zoom.
Oh.
Hey, Chad, should I be saying something now or no? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Nice. I want to say something. I'm standing with the person who gave me the spark for this. His name is Santos Carrasquillo. He's like an ultimate multitasker, and we call him the glue. So Santos pulled me out of the house, got me back into community work that I have not been involved in years. And tell them who you are, Santos.
Hello, everyone. I'm Santos, lifelong Cambridge resident. Grew up in the Port on Harvard Street. We're here working on our food insecurity initiative in the garden, and Toni Bee is highlighting that through her beautiful poetry. Our goal and mission is to feed, grow more food, and feed our community. Definitely in the midst of the pandemic and the prices of food going up and grocery store lines being full, we thought, why not use these neglected plots and these community gardens to grow more food? So we've been growing all summer. We fed lots of people, we distributed food, we encouraged more people to grow. And this is all tackling health and wellness. Yeah, we're the community, we're feeding people, we're surviving here.
And tell them your companies. You're co-founded and all that good
I'm
stuff.
the president of Filling in the Gap. It's a local Black-led nonprofit in Hort, in Cambridge. Our goal is to create economic opportunities for people in our neighborhood, especially in the underprivileged and underrepresented area that we're in. We definitely need to create economic impact, and there should be no poverty, especially in between Harvard and MIT.
Ah, we agree. He's the founder of Crabapple Gardeners. If you've seen my videos all summer, he's the founder of Crabapple Gardeners. He brought us all together. He's also the co-founder of Cambridge City Growers, and that's another group. And they have, throughout Cambridge, just this summer, they've established small places to grow with assurance from landowners and homeowners that it was okay to grow on their property. So it's kind of amazing, all of the stuff that he's doing. Is that enough, Chad? Thank you, Santos. Santos is the glue. Santos is the one who sparked this for me. Sparked Poets in the Garden, and I truly hope to work with him more. Also, Black, brown people, people of color, all people, lesbian, gays, partners, double partners, aliens from outer space, you are welcome to the garden. Yes, Chad, thank you.
Thank you, Toni. Thank you, Toni. And with that, we're going to keep the open mic here online going with Mr. David Miller.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Pardon me for the awkward setup. I wanted to set myself in front of a window, but in order not to be a total silhouette, I keep messing with this lamp, which keeps sort of falling down, and I have to prop it back up. So anyway, that's why, whatever. I'm not trying to have a mysterious look. It's just the best lighting because I'm not out in the garden. Okay, I've got two poems, and I'm really glad, I'm really happy to be invited here. I think this is an extremely cool idea. So this first one is basically outdoors. Masks and dogs. I have recently crossed paths with many people and their dogs, or several in a hydra. As it appears, dog walking is an essential service. That is, I do not cross, but bend my path in a neighborly parabola to dodge odd arcs made by no-seum spit flecks. I wonder what they think of their owners' faces shrouded. It wasn't like that when they were young, the dogs. Perhaps for dogs it's a passing fashion statement, something they'd sniff out as trendy if canine noses could be bothered with the merely chic. Doesn't seem to matter to them. Maybe for dogs it's just another dress-up, meaningless like mittens or a scarf. My wife and I sport decorative muzzles for daily strolls around the park. The dogs look at us as they always did, which is to say, barely at all. In a sudden world of people with half their facial cues blocked, dogs don't seem to be the slightest bit perturbed. This is not a strange, unprecedented dog year. Gertrude Stein said, "I am I because my little dog knows me." If I had a dog to know me, I'd have the selfsame face, unveiled or wrapped, as present to the animal as the animal is to me. And the second poem is not exactly a nature poem, but thank you, but it involves, well, it involves a kind of animal, or something that, well, you'll hear it. This is, I will give you this much hint. This actually has to do with a biological specimen that my wife had for a number of years, quite a number of years ago, quite a long time ago. It's called Voice from the Plaster Cake. I was your piggy, your sweet fetal specimen piggy, saved from a dark shelf, a formaldehyde jar where I floated by myself. Praise your best friend's mother. She wiped the dust off, brought me home out of that lonesome high school closet. Then off to college, you and me, dear girl. My distinctive charm overturned your roommate's stomach, that silly princess. So you scored a single room, lived with me alone. You ate meat then, though not your little piggy, till you shunned it. Turned vegetarian. You dug an honest grave for me, like a real fellow creature in your childhood home's backyard. But not before you cast me into plaster, into art. There's the image of my unborn body. Never was pork, no one's bacon. My silhouette atop a cake, a clever fake one. Joy spangled in confetti paint. It looks like I'm smiling. Yes, I am, beneath my round blue eye. In proud block letters all around the rim, you stamped the sculpted icing with my piggy. Don't forget me. That was my only name. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. David Miller. We are and of course that had to happen. So we're going to see if Toni has any more. I feel like I'm a news anchorman. We're going to see, here's Toni live from the garden. We're going to see if anything is going on there. Is the corn growing, Toni? Toni, are you there? Okay, I'm just being goofy, but let's see if Toni has anything to say. I'm asking her to unmute. And I don't think she's paying attention to that. I think she's continued to talk, but let's see what we got here. Toni.
Hey, how you doing? It's Toni Bee, and I'm on the mic. I assume people can hear me. Welcome to Poets in the Garden. You know, I'm trying to wear many hats, greet people and be nice, stay calm because I'm a dragon. I have to turn your thing on. And I'm 26. You know, I've been on this earth for a minute. Anyway, we're just trying to be out here, and I'm just trying to conduct things. Thank you for your patience. How am I doing, Chad?
We can hear you loud and clear. You're doing great, Toni.
Nice. So, Chad, here's what's going to happen. We have other neighborhood journalists who are going to sign on, because you know I can't do it all on my own, Chad. This is why we even came into the garden, to create community together. Everybody's like 6 feet away from me when I have this mask on. But Chad, you may have other people sign on, possibly a woman named Maham, possibly a person named Maria. And they also will be filming. You just see random people. We're just going to do this by the book, okay? And they're going to be the one who are going to be videotaping. And could you share their screens when people are on the mic? They may be signing in now.
Absolutely.
But,
I see one person, Elisa D, coming in right now.
all right. That's Lisa DeCiero. She is our... I'm just trying to show others.
Yep.
Hi, others. Hi, Stephanie. It's so nice to see you. My sister came. Hi, sister. It's really great to see you. I do have a book. And my book is 22 again.
Is that available in stores now?
I have it together as a poet. I still need my invent. I still need to make copies, but you all. If anyone can help me with this, I would love it. Can I read from my book 22 again?
Why not?
Okay. One sec.
It's almost 3D. This is like reading with 3D. Okay.
It is reading with 3D. How are you? Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me, Chad?
I can hear you. Keep going.
Good. It may be better, Chad. Hi, people in digital land. This is so fun. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's my first time. I am your Cambridge Forward Populist Emeritus, and we're here to have fun. We're really here to have, yes. We're really here to talk about these gardens here in Cambridge that should be and are available for all residents in Cambridge to sign up and get a plot. In certain places, there are some gardens that are fully communal. In our neighborhood of the port, there are 2 gardens, the Squirrel Grand Garden and the Moore Street Garden. Chad, are you getting all this? My girl, is
Tony, you're breaking up a little bit. It might be a good idea to switch to one of your guests who just signed in via the phone.
Excuse me.
Please, let's not walk in front of the camera, friends. It's really great to see you here. It's not all about me. I'm not going to take up all the time today. Actually, I want to hear other voices. Neighbors, I see you looking. Please come over and join us for Poets in the Garden. We want you to know that there are gardens here in Cambridge that you can grow in. You pay like $10 and you can grow in it. I'm going to stop because really, I'm a poet. And this poem is for a friend of mine. With a friend of mine, and how I used to just hang out with her and talk, and she gave me so much wisdom. Sister Baobab, you are the root. I, a floating idea on the whipping wind. In passing, I saw your branches reach for sky. Thought, marvelous she, what can I learn? Just a request. May I be your sapling? I am the sapling. You are the shade branch hovering. Dew of wisdom drips on mornings. I strain my neck for your sprinkled love. Sway of words, I sputter. Then listen for your water lessons, life, a hurricane of constant flight. Together we pray our paths safe, for my frame is wobbly, for your gentle trunk to sustain, to remain logged full of Jesus water, a blessed fountain to visit. You are a branch, I flower burst, bear one fruit, yet restless I sit at your blessed base, beautiful, squeezing out tears, learning not to fear the unknown, fire resistant, your bark, a precious bite I seek. Please scorch the knowledge in my heart. Hope the world don't leave me hollow. I'm just growing now. Tree, baby tree, but you stay the root. And as I lean comfy towards your shadow, you push me towards sun. Your breeze whispers, let his rays keep you safe. But I lean in your shadow and you push. Here, we are the Poets in the Garden, and we are reading poetry here in the garden. If you have something to say, please come to the mic. If you have a song, please have a song. I actually have disrespected the ancestors. I should have started this event out saying, thank you to the ancestors who was on this land before us. We are standing this land was given to Europeans for 26 years. United States of America. We are on stolen ground. How dare we keep others from growing in a community garden? How dare we even pause on that? I'm going to be quiet because y'all know I like to talk. Ancestors, we respect you at this moment. African slaves in all of our modern countries here in the West, North America, South America, Central America. African slaves were stolen on stolen land, practically $29. They were not free for 400 years. We say 400, it's more like 500 because we never think about South America. From about the year 1500, Africans were tilling the land, and you know what? I bet you sometimes they had to push off the indigenous people who had already been there. Can we be quiet for a few minutes and give respect for the stolen Africans who had to slave and work and smile while they were doing it? Because if you did not, you may be sold away. Can we just give a moment of silence and respect for those folks? I'm not really sure how to address my European conquerors, who all of we see around us this is built up on, but I'm three blood. I'm Native, I'm European, and I'm African. All of this flows through my blood. Not every European, historically. But when people first came here, everybody mixed. Our bloodlines are mixed up. Thank you, Europeans, who came here and made a new land. Though bloody, this is where we stand now. We have to recognize all. I'm three bloods. Should I stomp on my other bloods? Yeah, they did bloody things. Did all of our cultures. What we're asking, we want everyone to be welcome in our gardens. My name is Toni Bee. I'm no historian, I'm just a populist emeritus. I'm talking too much, right, Chad? Chad, I've done too much, Chad. I'm gonna hand it over to you. Thank you, Chin. I see poets in the crowd. Gilmore Tammy, we probably hear from her soon. I see Gardner Suniti. Thank you, Maham Rizvi, Santos Parasquillo. I would not be here without you. Santos pulled me out.
All right, and what we're going to go do next is a student of Toni Bee who has asked to be part of the reading. We are going to welcome up, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, Quinn Lee. I'm asking you to unmute. You can unmute yourself. Okay, perfect. So you have the literal mic. The forum is yours. Speak away.
Thank you, Chad. I'm one of Toni Bee's students. So English is my second language. So may I share my screen?
Yeah, let me see if I might have to give you permission, but that won't take but a moment. Yeah, it looks like you're all set to go.
I don't think so now. This disabled.
Says one person can, oh, let me check one thing. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, you're all set now.
Great. Thank you. So I have 2 poems related to nature. One is Lions in the Zoo, actually Franklin Zoo. Lying on the stone in the same sun, do you miss the life in the forest when you were king? Are you bored for living longer? Do you regret for being trapped by man? You swing your tail, lying on the stone in the same sun. So another one is,
Yes! Hi, Quinn. So great to see you here.
hi, Toni Bee. Okay, so another one is The Tree. I wrote today. She collected everyone's secrets in her tree hole. She starts drawing the ring devotedly, day by day. It's her way for you to pray. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinn. We're going to, let's see who we can go to next. We do have some video participants from people who were not able to make it today, but they sent Toni Bee videos I since uploaded to YouTube. We saw the first one from Orange, a short while. And we're going to go to, let's see, who can we go to next? Doreen West, would you be willing to read for us today?
Definitely. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't want to compete with Toni Bee. It's hard to compete with Toni.
No one can, but yeah.
I hope everybody is well on this Saturday afternoon. To echo what David said before, it's a pleasure to be invited and just to have this experience. It's an amazing idea to celebrate nature. And I think considering the current circumstances of the pandemic, at least I can speak for myself, I've come to appreciate nature a lot more. I know my journey with, poetry started with Robert Frost, someone who was very big on nature and personification and, building out more of a vivid imagery on the outside world, especially in New England. And today I have 2 pieces. So the first one actually is about nature, and it's 3 high buns. And if anybody knows what that is, a prose piece and then a haiku. And they're based off of questions from Pablo Neruda's book, The Book of Questions. So I'll jump into that. The first one is called How Mother Nature and I Are Related. Do you not also sense doom in the sea's laughter? Sometimes, during humid summer nights, watching the mosquitoes and dragonflies occupy grassy marsh, I can feel it. I can faintly smell the darkness lurking in the rainwater. Too often, the constant bustle of city traffic causes static in my mind, and I change frequency away from nature's channel. My neglect doesn't halt the growth the ocean seeks, though. One summer, it rained once every day for 2 weeks. Sun showers crashing down on cars, encouraging mercurial waves to embrace its emotion and splash with expression, and it felt like an ominous cloud would micromanage the rest of our August. It reminded me how little control I actually had. Sometimes laughing is healing. Sometimes crying is healing. My only wish, peace of mind. Mother Nature mourns, her tears rip open the sky. When will the sun shine? If all rivers are sweet, where does the sea get its salt? From deliverance, the Bible uses water as symbolism for salvation and cleansing, to wash away sin and its consequences. My mother has psoriasis and says the salt water eats at the flaky plaques sprinkled on her shoulder blades. Beachside, all creatures crawl into the sea for relief. Arduous labor makes the back burdensome, roasting from the sun's oppressive intensity. Rivers serve a different purpose, isolated. Land dwellers capitalize on the nectar of river water whilst traveling on the journey. There's levels to this, never mind. Compare me to the bodies, shaped different, purpose different, saltwater healings. Why do the waves ask me the same questions I ask them? We're related. I feel connected to the way bodies of water move. I can just go to the river and watch the waves glide down the path, how the wind dictates some, the kayakers getting cardio in, the geese, the lily pads, everything. Yet Charles moves through it all with grace. Sometimes I don't even ask questions. Sometimes I learn without crafting language. Many people forget Charles has needs too. We have a lot in common, in my opinion, Charles and I. We're both smooth, inviting, incomplete, undefined. We both like sunsets. Our relationship feels organic. Maybe the tides can sense that. I hope Charles can sense that. Charles and I met through Frost, who often we crossed paths without truly meeting. Thank you. And I have a second piece here, if I can. This is just a little bit about some of the history that I've been going through recently, some just things I've been going back in time in some pieces. And I got the pleasure of watching a documentary on Nina Simone. And this is a poem about Nina Simone. It is called Nina Simone Pauses While Explaining Being Free. When the reporter asks, well, what's free to you? And she gestures, readjusts brown and black striped dress, weighing repost. Just a feeling, she finally say. Head swaying unfazed. It's like, how can you tell someone how it feels to be in love? How are you gonna tell anyone who has not been in love you cannot do it to save your life? You can describe things, but you can't tell them, but you know when it happens. For me, apparently when Eric was strangled, breath snuffed out from lungs for selling Lucy's in Staten Island, when Tamir, 12 years old, was murdered on playground mulch in Cleveland, when self-appointed neighborhood watchman kills Trayvon for having sweet tooth, when Sandra is hung after being jailed for 3 days for failing to signal in Texas, when Ahmaud is spotted, followed and hunted like cottontail in Georgia, when Breonna can't sleep, can't rest in bed after being essential, risking health as EMT in Kentucky wasn't enough. But when George couldn't breathe, again, 8 minutes and 46 seconds, 526 seconds, again, I can't breathe becomes marching cry, again, replaying, 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 replaying. I couldn't breathe either. 8 minutes, 46 seconds. Apparently, the price for Black bodies is small cash settlements, third-degree murder, paid administrative leave. 8 minutes and 46 seconds when a 46-year-old man cries out to his dead mother. He is pleading with God to grant him an angel willing to justify his expiration as inevitable foreshadow. A couple of times I've been on stage where I really felt free. And that's something else. She turns, fixated on target now, words astray in a tidal wave of emotion, then a hand. She bellows. I tell you what freedom is to me, no fear. I mean, really, no fear. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lorraine. And I think it might be a good idea to go to one of the videos that Toni had sent over from a friend. Again, I have quite a few to go through, so I want to make sure that we do. Let me just find the next one. I think it was the second one she sent me from a poet and children's book author. So let me grab that in just a second. And thanks everyone for their patience in going through this. This is the first time doing this. And part of the event, hello. Part of the event is
my name's Asha.
Not sure what that's coming from, but hopefully we'll figure that out. But hopefully Asha, whoever that is, I don't seem to see her in the call itself, so it might have been coming from Toni, but we can't hear it. Oh, might be Toni trying to break through.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, bilingual. We bilingual out here. Yes. Trilingual in some ways.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Is it the garden time? Would you like to read? Hi, Chad.
Hello, Toni.
And I'm poetry ambassador. And you know what? For years as a Black woman, I didn't know if I should be proud of that. I said, yeah, who's my neighbor? I didn't know I could be saying that. You know, when I first got the position of poet-elect, somebody told me, stay humble now. And in my humility, I led a march for Black Lives Matter in Cambridge in 2015. And I did all this poetry stuff, but now I should be proud of, and in this position of saying, I am the first woman who's the poet-elect. Women, children, be proud in your positions. Be like me and chill back on your hindquarters and be scared. Don't be scared. Bring a lot of your scaredness. We're going to transition to the next poet now. I'm singing up the music in my head because it's crowded. Don't I sound like 90s Prince or something like that? Because I'm an 80s kid. But I think maybe I was singing all that. Because the next person coming to the mic, her name is Gilmore Tamney. Gilmore has always supported my events at Poetry in the Park, right next to us, right next to this garden is a park. Right next to it is Squirrel Grand Park, and I used to do poetry events. What's wonderful about Gilmore is because when I first self-published my book, she was the only person who called me up and hooked me up with all these readings. One of the first and only person, she's a woman, and she's a musician, and she's a great poet. And I want to just say thank you, Gilmore. And I want you to take 5. Okay, no, that's too much, right? She got haikus. Gilmore staying away from me because I'm about to, where's my Lysol? See, I forgot my Lysol. But I do have something I can wipe the mic off. Anyway, she might just be reading poetry, not from this mic, because maybe it's a little dirty now. Gilmore Tammy is coming. We have someone who can videotape you if you don't want to get to the mic, girl. You know I need to claim it. Gilmore Tammy.
Wear your mask.
We don't play games here.
Tony, I think you oversold me a little bit, but that's okay. I'll take it. I think Chad and Tony have suggested we say a little bit of something about gardens. Maybe. I don't have the gardening itch. I sort of seem to be immune from it, but I can tell it's like a canary in a coal mine of a bunch of people want to garden, especially together, especially like as pals, you know, sharing manure
And water.
Uh, so space, much needed in a city. So I'm very glad for the space. Also, I love squirrels so much. And when I first saw this, I'm sure actually you might be enemies with the squirrels, but garden, I don't know how that works out, but I'm a big fan of squirrels. So the fact that this is Squirrel Park, you saw my painting. I like love squirrels.
Okay.
I thought I might read a little lyrics. I do not have acapella talent, so like resonant of the moment, like your fine song for.
It's our song.
It's our song. A more generous person than I am. Okay. So I'm going to read some lyrics. All the way home. All the way home, I felt something behind me. Turned around, nothing's there. Sidewalk is just empty. Early evening, still and clear. Ordinary walk home, but there's something close behind me, keeping up my pace, soundless and steady, all the way home. Something that had disappeared a long time ago is following me, always has been, maybe. I don't know if it wants to find a home. There. All the way home. It's not Diablo, but not lacking in bravado, and yet doesn't seem to want. It's actually. Thank you.
Okay, I think we may have lost connection again. Very sorry about that, folks. I'm going to, oh. And one moment. Okay.
It's a little flag. It's true, a revolution. Like a lettuce leaf. You sit around the break room writing our memos. Fast as we write, you toss it in the microwave, light it up, and let it go. All of these songs are the same key. A perfect world, come back to me. We treated you so bad, you fell hard, and now we're so sad. We'll get the ideals right this time, and truly, you can be all mine. Comrades. That's 5 heavily entertaining packed minutes. So thanks for putting this together, Toni. I desperately need community because I'm getting so weird being by myself so much. So
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
sister. I appreciate you coming.
Can you guitar?
Oh, I don't have.
That's a left piece.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, sister.
Yay.
I will keep my. Thank you. Thank you, Gilmore Tammy. Thank you for supporting sisters. I really, really, truly appreciate it. I do want to say. That means this is the month of October. That means I'm doing some giveaways. I'm doing some giveaways. This giveaway, I have about 16 cards that are from Michael Talbot. He's an awesome artist, and he gave 16 cards. It's his homage series. If you are receiving this card, then that means there's someone out there who thinks you're hauntingly great and looks up to you and respects you immensely. This is their homage to you. I just want to say that we're doing some giveaways. I'll be giving away some honey from Follow the Honey, and I'll be giving away these cards. So, y'all know I done talk rappers in the house. Hi, Chad. What should I do now? Chad Parento, thank you for hosting this event. He is the leader of Stone Soup Poetry. My sponsors today are Stone Soup Poetry, Blackyard School, Santos Carrasquillo, who is the spark for all of this. He has a company named Big Cambridge, filling in the gaps. Also, he is the founder of Crabapple Gardeners, which is why I even came out the house and stepped into the garden. He is also co-founder of Cambridge City Growers. I just want to shout out our sponsors before we transition to the next poet on the mic. Or should we wait, Chad, and have you play one of the videos? What do you think?
I'll do the video, Toni. I'll do the video. So we'll go.
Nice. We have a few more people on video. Chad, take it away.
Okay, we're going to go to share the screen again, and this time we're going to be able to include the sound, the computer sound again. And this is, let's see what we got. Here we go. Let's go to Mr. Orange Live, and this is called By the Bottle. This is new to me too. Hopefully it's new to you. We're going to go to it right now.
Destruction lay waste at noonday, waiting, working, functioning, legal death at fingertip. On every corner, in every black community, and ghetto filled with black bodies drowning out misery. You see it in their eyes. And if you take a second, you can feel it in your soul. You drunken stupor stumbling life on a string of addiction. Dyeing your kidneys black and your future bleak. College stories of good times and rape culture. Frat parties and harmless monsters called fun. Ain't nothing pretty about monsters. Jack knew Daniel Bud, but made light of the 6 of his friends in the pack, and next thing you know, he's laid out, waiting for nighttime to grant peace, except ain't no mercy for dates with destiny. It's okay to feel the pain of life, but don't try to drown it in public places and break space-time consummation. Don't try to get medical attention for failed liver, failed kidney, and a broken heart. They will deny you and say it's your fault. Making liquor cheapen on every corner. It seems to find its way to your lips in every problem. You're just there on life support, hoping that someone comes and saves you. Buy the bottle till it's empty. Buy the damn bottle till you forget what they are doing to you. Excuse me.
Unmute.
Sorry about that. We just got one more video to go through as far as I know. Sorry about that. Tony's next friend is a poet and a children's book author. And just give me 1 second. We got her lined up next. Actually, we might have 2 left. Let's do the, here we go. Let's, aha. About to share now.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Grace and I am a children's author and a poet who grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And I'm here today to talk about why I love gardening and why I love nature and to support the fact that everybody deserves to garden. So growing up in Cambridge, I found great joy in the nature all around me, whether it was dandelions or parks. My gardening growing up was mostly in window boxes, and I grew herbs for my family to eat, and we loved it. We loved eating them, and we loved growing them, and it was a great source of joy and comfort for me growing up, and it still is today. So I believe that in nature we can always find something we need. Nature has an endless capacity to give, and I find inspiration in that. I find inspiration in knowing what to give at the right time in the right place, and that's what nature teaches us. And gardening is a part of being in that conversation with nature about giving. You know, in gardening we grow things for us, for our eyes, for our hearts, for our souls, for our bodies, to nourish us in every way. And what we grow also helps nourish nature. You know, whether we're growing something like, you know, we planted this goldenrod for bees, and it survived the drought, and it's going to sleep for the winter. So sometimes we might give something back with our gardening to nature. And sometimes we might grow what we need, and that might help make the soil healthier. So, you know, gardening is a conversation between us and nature, and it's a healing conversation, and it's a hopeful conversation, and it's one that everyone deserves the chance to participate in. So Toni asked me to read a poem today from Hidden City, Poems of Urban Wildlife. This is my book of children's poetry inspired by nature in and around Cambridge that I took joy in growing up. And I thought that I would read this poem. It's called Sunflower Buffet, and this is the illustration. And what better way to talk about how gardens can nourish us than by talking about sunflowers in this poem. So here we go. Sunflower Buffet. Sunflower pollen and seeds can feed ant, fly, moth, bee, butterfly, sparrow, squirrel, me. And I think it's so important to remember that what we do in our community gardens, what we do in our home gardens and our window boxes, impacts so many people and so many creatures and so many things in the world that we might never get to see. We might never notice that a butterfly is helping us to pollinate our flowers or helping us to grow our food by pollinating things. But they're there, and the impact that we're able to give them is real. So the other poem that I wanted to read today, it's a poem I wrote specifically for today. It's called Mycobacterium vaccae, and it's based on a real thing that lives in the soil, and you'll learn about it as I read this poem. It's called Mycobacterium vaccae. Sigh the name of life in soil, invisible life, gifting us joy wrapped in serotonin, the antidepressant our body makes when our bare hands dig into dirt and touch it. Mycobacterium vaccae, that precious, vital vaccine against the sorrows of now. Why do you keep it locked away from us? Why do you demand that we yearn over fences at untended land? Our 14 community gardens are our 14 community health clinics. And who are you to hoard medicine when there is a line out the door? So thank you so much for having me, and everybody deserves to garden. Thank you.
It just occurred to me that the person in the video is actually was able to join our call, and I thought none of the video people could. So, Sarah, thank you for that. Anything else you want to add?
There are people who are on Zoom, and they'll need to say some things too. So it's okay. Shout out to Lizzle Four, who is an Area 4 resident who was here today. He is a teacher, and he pushes and promotes community. Shout out to one of my supporters, the New England Poetry Club. I'm actually on their advisory board with a whole host of other wonderful people, and it's a wonderfully diverse board. Shout out to Asha, who is our videographer today, and Raphael. Can you put the light on Raphael if you would? Raphael is here. Dude, we need to group next week. You know, there's a lady, and her name is Mahan has taught me so much about gardens here. And I thank her for it. No one paid her to tell me and inform me about gardens, and yet my whole mind is expanded. Today, I want you all to know, can you take the Swiss chard? Can you take the Swiss chard. My plot this year has been a community prize. I want you all to take the Swiss chard today. Take all of the leaves. I want to give this away. And so Jeffrey is taking care of it. But this food is for others. I don't want to see this Swiss chard here at the end of the day. You feel me, Chad? We want to give away this food. Alas, I'm talking too much. And coming to the mic now, who's Mike? Who got myself in their purse or their backpack? Because I'm trying to stay COVID free as well as you. Who's next to the mic? Her name is S. S.
I live about stone throw that way, and I have a garden in my backyard. I'm very fortunate that my landlord gives me a plot. And this summer, I had to go away. Oh, clean it up. I had to go away to care for my mother, and I was doing about a month, so I needed people to garden sit. And Toni, being my neighbor and my friend, and I know she likes a lot of the produce I brought to her in the past. I asked her if she would want to garden. And she did. And I'm really grateful for that. And she told me therapeutic it was and how much I felt really like sustainable. And then I heard Toni started gardening here in the plot, and she has some really ill chard, which you should go have and get some. She started, talking to her plants and coming up with little wraps and whatnot in the garden, spoken words, songs to them, which I just, again, I was like, this is great. And so our reasoning for here, I just want to say being here today, well, it sucks, but also I'm grateful to be here and just, this, like, community gardens are part of food justice. They're part of mental health. They are obviously social justice. Like, we need food, and to be able to have healthy food directly from your home, it's fine. There's nothing better than that. So let's keep the gardens open. So this was a little poem I started way earlier in the summer. It's about my garden, and I really just finished it kind of after all this happened, and after I learned about poets in the garden. It's called Gardenia Urbana. When the world awakens, even the sky seems more alive, having space to breathe baby blue. Rats pluck the bright fruits of Gardenia Urbana, and humans realize they weren't here first. But who can resist? Caged beauties, ladies in red, wet petunias, soft-soaked lambs here, morning glories to the sky. Who can resist in thinking, saying, believing, this is mine, mine, mine. Thank you. Thank you, Toni.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry. Shout out to Peggy, who gave us a little bit of sanitizer so that we can do this. This is a great hike. we are going to have a performance next. Before we give the performer comes, I want to do giveaways. I think someone went around and gave you Michael Talbot of Talbot Arts. Check him out on Facebook. Someone went around and gave you cards, but we're also going to give away some honey from Follow the Honey. I'm going to be particular. I'm actually going to be particular because this person, for as long as I've been in Cambridge, they've been truly of a community heart. I would growl at him and had to come back and say sorry, and we've healed some things. Hatch, can you please come get this honey? Hatch is awesome. Hatch is all about community love, and he's the dragon. Super sweet. And he has a great voice. His company is Home Street, and I just wanted to give you that. At some point, can we just say a couple of words before we have Elon? Elon Lizzle is going to come up, and he's going to rap chat and people in digital land. But before that, can you just say just a couple of words, Hatch?
Okay, number one, the micro level, these little gardens bring people together. This is going to continue right at the little level, all across the city, all across the country. Part of the new unfolding after the Trump era and all the spying, digital, and lying, fake news, not knowing it's true. Right? We're going to have people asking, what the hell, what's it in life? There's going to be something good coming out of all this horrible polarization. We all talk. At micro level, this is Crab Apple Gardens trying to make this place, more participatory. This is the kids, city throughout. Come here, Crab Apple Gardeners. And this means abandoned plots, and we're trying to bring them back to life. Compost sites in that plot there. I'm going to come back because I see a new day coming. Thanks a lot.
Woo! Thank you, Ed. So thank you so much, Raphael. Can you give me some love, and can you put this microphone up? Yeah, 6 foot, a 6-footer. Just do that. Elon Lizzle 4 is coming to the mic right now. Thank you, Hatch.
You're welcome.
Hello. All right. First off, let's make some noise for Raphael for holding this whole situation down for us. All right. So how's everybody doing today? I said, how's everybody doing today? There you go. This is Elon Fifield, known as Lizzle 4. I work at this elementary school over here, the Fletcher Maiden Academy. I've been there for the last 5 years. I actually started going there in 2000 with Santos, and now we're kind of running a boys program called Qualls Academy. Qualls Academy is a program that's just built around the young men of color in the community, and taking them to different field trips, Google, MIT, teaching them about coding, and Santos, who's actually the director of our new nonprofit in the community, filling in the gaps. Santos, thank you. Yeah, make some noise. Santos has been instrumental in really kind of putting these things together for us, as well as Toni Bee, everybody else that's here. Last but not least, I want to shout out Rose, my partner. I love you to death. Just want to thank you for always supporting me. And I'm going to give you guys a quick poem real quick, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Here, know that I'm here. Know that it's lit, so you know that I'm here. Said I put in the work. Yeah, I did it for years, and I had sleepless nights, so then blood, sweat, and tears. I'm letting them know that I now have no fear. I'm letting them know they can talk, I don't care. I'm letting them know they can stop and just stare as they realize a birth of a star in their ears. Told me to stick with my Boston accent. Looking around, so there's love in the air. Shout out to realists. I'm talking about Cambridge. Know that we made it. Outsiders look scared. Proceeded with caution. Step up in Boston. Winning no losses. They're fearing the bid. Know that it's Lizzo, the man I will dare. Step on the scene and win the gear. Know that we're winning. Afraid to admit it. Said that we're cocky. I get it. I get it. Know that they're talking and hoping and wishing. Listen, we're flop, but I'm all on a mission to ball. Mission to ball. Stop all the hating and dissing, it's wrong. Put in that work while I'm repping the fourth. And you know that I always will pray to the Lord because he's opening doors.
My goal in life is to be 6'4" one day. What did you say? Stop all the hating, what? Stop all the hating because we want peace more.
Yeah, stop all the hating and dissing, it's wrong.
Stop all the hating and dissing, it's wrong. There is no hating and dissing in our local community gardens from here now, not just in Cambridge.
There you go.
Not just in Cambridge. Boston has community gardens. There are other places that have community gardens. Let anyone join the community gardens. I will talk forever. Thank you, Ms. LaFleur. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you.
Next to the mic is Toast. Toast?
Oh.
Santos Carrasquillo. He went to middle school with a rapper. And he has a few words. Santos sparked me to do Poets in the Garden. Big ups. Can we have a hand clap? City Council.
There we go.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is real community here. The goal is to build community, to grow food, to feed our families, our friends. Just bring it back to like a serious note. Yeah, I know what we're going for right now, but we are still in a dual pandemic here. Social justice is an issue. Food insecurity is an issue. Our grocery stores are packed. It's a risk to go to the grocery store now in the big lines. The prices are up, so we decided to get into our community gardens here and start growing more food and distributing it to the people in need. So,
yep.
You know, a lifelong resident, grew up here in the port, went to school with Elon at Fletcher Manor, neighbors of everyone here. Came together once again to grow food, to alleviate the food insecurity issues that we have in our underprivileged neighborhood. The goal and the vision here is, once again, to build community, to feed, to promote health and wellness, to promote social justice, environmental justice in the community gardens. And we're now working with the city to create a plan, to create a budget to fund and optimize these community gardens that we grow our food in.
There you go.
Thanks, everyone. Let's have a video from Chad. Take us away as we wait for Toni and others who are continuing to chat in the garden. So take it away, Chad.
Okay, so we have one more video coming, a couple more videos coming up. We have Eddie Tosiant Totonge, and whose video comes from, I believe, work comes from an anthology of liberation poetry. So we're going to give you that right now. And just one moment. Okay, coming right up. And here we go.
Under the charm and the spell of desire, all seems to have meaning. Suddenly, oh, eternal instant, the mundanity of the passing time as this juncture of destiny has become a revelation to the living. Except that this time, oh, mischievous time, you are the prisoner of the spell of desire, the one you call explendorous elation. The reconfiguration of the senses changes sins to virtues, celebrated as ethical conduct, even the surest path to paradise. Love, as we know it on this land, is both a beautiful thing and an ambush for many. Still, I love you, you who embellish my road to nowhere in the immensity of space. My time with you is a treasure of remembrance of time I did not waste. It was the fulfillment of void. Time's works is distance inexorably regardless of what people say, independent of societal judgment. One cannot trick time, although we ignore its appeal. We may conquer space and its sounding, but not time, the inescapable time. Greed has invaded the space. It marks the time of its venom, while the colonial mindset, the domination of the space and its living stock and ship paved the way to the reigning cynics and the realists on grand scale. All is possible on this earth of ours, and the bridges that lead to nowhere, and the fabrication of fake monarchy, and the games of mirage control, illusion that change to disillusion. I love the smell of human beings, our embrace of the earthen treasure deeply buried in the sub-oceanic world. We share the same destiny, but you take too much of it. Let's re- let's rejoice together in our gains and mourn together our losses. The instant could be an eternity for both you and the others. You act as if you were just like Rousseau has painted you. You, the erector of fences, the one that says, this land is mine, only mine. The rapacious ego is looming along the crossroads. I admire the courage of the fighting impetus for justice, the millions who call for this abolition of everything that hurts the child. I admire you, you alone, in this long pursuit of time. May your endurance to survive calamities and bad luck in this life be a bright light in all those who follow. We must live as if we will not be there the next day, like the death row inmate out of stage and appears. I love the multiplicity of life's beauty and variety, the darkness after the sunset, as well as the sunny light announcing the advent of dawn. Our instant of encounter is scripted in a corner of our memory, where the beatific, the stellar immensity of space, the cosmos are intermingled, blossoming and the multiple aspects of being. We must make it a testimonial to our passage on earth, or a celebration of what really counts in life. Nothing is new under the sun. That that much we know in this passing instant. Generation will come and go, so will the power to oppress and destroy, until a huge storm of hope takes the upper hand and proclaims the emancipation of being on this beautiful earth of ours.
And with that,
All right, thank you so much for that video,
And
chat.
we don't know
Looks
if we should
like
be.
Tony
I
is
always
introducing
sat from the back and
one of
said,
our
"Ooh, I
next
want to be a New England
performers
Poetry Club member." Really, as a
from the
black
New England
woman
Poetry
who
Club.
is living here in the North, my peach cousins, i.e. white, my peach cousins are not always welcoming. But guess who has always been welcoming to me? Ever since I saw those socks on the bus. Before I was a poet elect, and we met, and we just realized we were poets. Mary Bee, the president of the New England Poetry Club, gave me love like a regular chick, as I am. Mary, where are you in the garden? Mary, please come to the mic and bless our mic.
A member of the Washington as an advisory board member for the New England Poetry Club, and really grateful for their insights and leadership. I'm really happy to be here. I don't have a garden home, but I have a home for these days. It's called Civic Duty. Civic Duty. My vote is a second-hand skirt. It's perfect. In the back, a working zipper. But then I see the front is destroyed, violently blown apart. Most of it missing, charred at the edges. At the polling station, I hold it up to the light. It will leave me exposed. It will have to do. My vote is upstairs in someone else's kitchen. I have to make it myself. I boil the potato, it falls in soapy water. I fish it out, rinse it. It's my vote, I have to eat it. Everyone else has made their vote here too. No one has cleaned up their mess. I feel sorry for the people who own this place. My vote is in an adjoining room filled with treasures in dusty glass cases. Pewter plates, tarnished pictures, coins, swords, dolls and costumes, arrowheads, blankets, spears, mugs, quills, all jammed together, poorly lit. I have to strain to see. Is this my country? A museum with no curator, but a hoarder. Every aisle filled, no escape. My vote is this soup. I carry it in a heavy saucepan with a long handle. The soup is watery, chopped beans, bits of carrot and onion. I must carry it down the stairs. A wooden spiral, the sunset colors of a psychedelic album cover. But the stairs are broken and I can't see my way down. The boards are splintered. Will they support my weight? How far is the drop? What's in there in the dark? I grip the handle of the saucepan, afraid my boat will spill. I don't know what my vote will be. It's a hidden thing, like a gift, a jewelry, a small box, wrapped in brown paper. Finally, it reveals itself. Small, wet, slimy, emerging from its birth, its baptism. A bumblebee, yellow and black, stripes furred with mucus. It staggers on the page, and I feel let down. This thing is nothing. A pathetic insect. Hollow body, easily crushed. It teeters, and I reach out, and then I remember. It can sting. I appreciate you, New England Poetry Club. That's okay. I'm fine. Because I'm loud. We have been loud in the garden in summer. When colorful people come, we bring color. Then we bring flavor, as we all do. We just want to be welcome in one of the 14 community gardens. One of the 14 community gardens in Cambridge. Can I get props? The police never came by. Not once. I haven't seen the police all summer. We have some folks who hang out here in the parking lot. The police have never come. I might see we're doing this. Thank you, Cambridge Police, for letting us be. We were peaceful citizens. We know we're going to continue the relationship with that, but blah, blah, blah. Toni Bee talks too much. Because I'm a poet. There's a chef I know. He makes the most delicious food that I've never tasted yet. I'm ringing the alarm like, I'm going to be having more poets in the gardens and I'm going to need some baked goods. But really, before he was a baker, he was a sonnet maker. His name is Leonardo Toppin. Leonardo is somewhere in the garden, and he would like to read today. Leonardo, Mr. Toppin. Sure where you dwell. Come to the microphone.
Hi everybody, can you hear me? Thank you. Another time I would have brought some chocolate cookies, but it's nice to be here to read. Next Saturday. Right on. So 14 community gardens. There are 14 lines in a sonnet. I wrote this a while ago. It's about, but I think it fits with today. The title is Garden. There is no produce seen as less distinct within the garden where I've taken root. No seed lacks its own word. No leaf is ranked above the next. All preference is moved. A bitter taste may follow certain greens, and there are fruits too sweet to have alone. But a well-tended garden never runs out of a choice to offer everyone. And there are gardeners who take the weeds, the precious growth they trample underfoot. But those who miss the garden for the seeds can never plant up by its root. You leave me planted, but with good intent, allowing for a garden never stay. Thank you.
And he got Basquiat print on his shirt.
Yes.
Thank you for being here at Poet in the Garden. Thank you, Chef Baker, Leonardo Toppin. Thank you, Sauce, Mary Bee, the president of the New England Poetry Club. Thank you, Lizzle Force. Thank you, Gilmore Tammany, Hatch. Mad love to you. We're going to continue down the poetry path. I feel my blood sugar is dropping, and I need some sugar in my system. Asha, thank you, Asha, for being the videographer. Asha's like, you're paying to see your body. My body is like, hey girl, you need your fruit. So I'm gonna go get my fruit. And there is a wonderful person coming to the mic who has a beautiful multicultural family. Her name is Anna Belletti. Something about Anna. Anna makes awesome red velvet cakes for $50. Never mind. Never mind. Anna makes awesome red velvet cakes. She's a storyteller. She's an awesome rhyming poet. She's wonderful. Anna is something. Do you see Anna over there? Anna, could you stop playing with the tomatoes and the green? We need you on the mic, Anna Belletti, who is the resident of the porch. Please come to the mic.
Name is the human race. We all are part. We all are part of the human race. So why is it so hard for everyone to find their place? We all have beating hearts. We all have thinking minds. So why can't we all get along despite all the different kinds? We need to come together and uplift each other. We all got here the same way, got to live to die and love. Why do people only see color? We are all here to love one another. We all live in this world. We all breathe the same air. Why are we living in such despair? Don't believe the hype. We must embrace each other, no matter what type. Life is too short to live in all this heat. We need to love each other and learn how to congregate. We need peace and love, blessings from above. We need a cure for this illness that's killed many into stillness. Many people have died. Every day we have cried. Pandemic and racism and police brutality is our country's reality. We must endure and unite together to make a difference and make it better. We must set good examples for our children in all the nations to learn how to respect each other and have peaceful relations. To teach
Not sure what happened there. Oh.
All right, we lost you for a moment, but we are back in the garden.
We appreciate you. It's 3 o'clock today. Let me just say thank you. Thank you. Stone Soup Poetry is one of our supporters. Let me tell you something else about another of our supporters, Black Yard. Black Yard is led by Ashley Herring and others, but primarily Ashley Herring. We have books to give away. They are a supporter too. Please take books. They're free because we are a community. Don't leave me with greens. Take the Swiss chard. We are overwhelmed by it. Thank you, beautiful and colorful community who came out today. I really appreciate you all being here, welcoming to others, helping the community and the world to know that there are community gardens. Get involved with them in Cambridge. There are 14 community gardens. 14 community gardens in Cambridge, and they are actually in the process right now of thinking about, could things be different, added to, changed? The crabapple gardeners of Squirrel Brand are in the process of assisting that. Shout out to the city of Cambridge who even allowed these 14 gardens here. Can we give them love? Woo! Yeah. 10 bucks and for like almost 5 or 6 months, you can grow food. So shout out to the fact that there are even gardens here, and shout out to the fact that from here on out, everybody's going to be welcome in the gardens. All right. Thank you all for coming. I am the poet populist emeritus of Cambridge. I'm the first woman. I'm forcing myself to say that, kids. You got to say who you are. Say it with confidence. am also on the advisory board of the New England Poetry Club. And you too. It's very easy to be a poet who could also be a rapper, because rappers are poets. Right, Lizzle 4? Rappers are poets, poets are rappers. I mean, you know, with a little bit of lyricisms. But can't poets who are rappers, rappers who are poets be a part of the New England Poetry Club? I'm here to say yes. We welcome you too. We will adjust. If you speak, join the New England Poetry Club. If you are a poet, we will adjust. Thank you, Asha.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about community. It's about understanding. Thank you, Asha, for doing all of the videotaping. Thank you, Maham, and thank you also, Santos, who had to tolerate this old 46-year-old woman being crunchy and having to come back sometime and say, you know, I could have came off differently. We have to speak about our flawlessness. The last person to come to the mic, I think everybody read today, the last person to come to the mic after Raphael and me just get on this mic and groove, because we're coming to the 3 o'clock hour, is my love, Dexter Roberts. Dexter Roberts is my foundation, besides my baby Selena Yard, who even pushed me. And she said, Mommy, of course you should run for Poet Populist of Cambridge. You're good. That's the one who even made me Poet Populist of Cambridge. And behind her came Dexter, who I met and who has supported me greatly throughout this process. I thought I was an artist. Well, he's an artist and a poet. Dexter, stop messing around with the bok choy and please come to the mic. Dexter, it's your turn on the mic. Can you please come to the mic, Dexter? Please come to the mic. My love.
You want to? What's up, guys? Yeah, the guard. I used to make. You guys make beds differently. I'm West Indian, so we make the beds like with earth, and it looks like a little mound. But that's how I know to make the bed. But hey, as long as it grows, right? All righty, I got 2 small pieces for y'all. All right, here we go. What's today? Not the date, the day. They all seem to run into each other, unless we run into each other. What if it takes longer to run into week? Will we forget the week? What month? Years become dates, birth, death. Who knows when? Didn't act then. Now, Sunday, April 5th, 2020. Yeah, that's when I was in the house and, you know, the coronavirus. All I did was write art and everything. And my final piece. Let's see. Here we go. I saw a post that I thought was hilarious. I wanted to leave a humorous comment. I went to put the comment, but when I saw all these other positive comments, I just left a funny saying. Thank you.
And thank you, Chad and everyone, for staying tuned. It looks like Tony's coming back to sign us out for the event.
Oh my goodness. Woo! Woo! Hi, I was playing in the garden. The tomatoes needed my attention. My blood sugar's low. Chad, if I faint, you better just go on like nothing happened. Asha, do not show me on the ground.
I won't.
Thank you all for coming. It's close to 3 o'clock.
It is.
Hello, beautiful neighbors. Beautiful neighbors. There are 14 gardens in Cambridge. My Black Haitian, Jamaican, my Pakistani, my Latino neighbors, come. My neighbors of European descent, my transgender folks, my lesbian and gay folks, little kids, where art thou? You should be in the garden. Do you realize that there is, Helen, how long, could you show Helen? Helen, how long's the growing season?
April to October.
April, May, June, July,
September. 6.
August. You can be in the garden. 6 months. You can be in the garden, and guess what? April's poetry month. So y'all know I'm a fool with poetry, because Poets in the Garden will continue next April. I'm nuts, so you're going to see me here in the winter. The garden's a beautiful place in the winter as well.
We'll have hot tea.
We have hot tea. Oh my gosh. She who won't be named, Maham, the scientist. She thought of the idea for us to have tea in the garden. Maham, isn't next Saturday our last tea in the garden?
It doesn't have to be. Doesn't have
Our
to be.
last tea in the garden is next Saturday, which happens to be October 31st, which is Halloween. We will be in the garden. I'm definitely going to be acting like a fool and try to scare y'all.
Yes.
It's required that you wear costumes if you want to, or just come in your regular skin costumes. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, Gilmore Tammy, who's leaving. Thank you, S, for reading. As you see, Chad, everyone who came to the mic were all of different colors, were all of different cultures. I can't just say black first and black the most. You know why? Because my blood is 3. And I'm going to celebrate everyone. But I'm also going to say, listen, black and brown people need this garden. People of color too. Do not turn us away. Could you be friendly to us when we come? Right when you have an attitude, we are like, oh, please, we ain't got no time for that. And then we grow things on our porches and in our houses. So everyone is welcome to come to the community gardens in Cambridge. Remember, there are 14. Right, Chad?
There.
Right. So, you know, we're going to end this day with a beautiful woman who I met on the poetry circuit, and her name is Veronique Epiter. I'm trying to get her to sing this song for me. I have to work for her if she wants to. She just has a beautiful voice. She's a singer. I know she's a dancer. She is just filled with poems and words and her creativity. Please, Veronique, I know you're trying to maybe get some seeds from Maham, but I'm really going to need you to come to the garden at this time. And you know, just come to the mic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toni. I just want to say I'm really happy I made it to this place because I didn't realize it was today. So, and I don't have a coffee machine, so we took like quickly handwriting. So, how many poems can I read?
5? Yes, as many as you want.
So I'm going to start with
5 minutes.
poem that does not have a title, but I'm going to dedicate it to everybody who mothers someone or something. Plants are babies, animals are family. There is nothing more beautiful than the heart of a mother that's been crushed again and again and put back together, whole and perfect at first, and soon like a puzzle, then a mosaic. With the immensity of the universe in its myriads of particles, bound together in the perpetual motion of her journey so epic, here to deliver light from those cages where it's been trapped, restore light to mirror the multitude of their sparkles. There's nothing more beautiful than the heart of a mother, because the heart of a mother is the anchor the glue, the key, the veil, blown in by winds that fuel her way across many battles. The guide to her intuitive steps through the madness of existence. The open wings for her to fly above and beyond obscure roads. No, there's nothing more beautiful than the heart of a mother, showing irreverence to fear, intolerance to injustice. Will not be hushed, surrendering to the power of any crown but that of love. I collect rocks. I like to go on the beach and collect rocks. And I make little compositions with my rocks and look at them and it makes me happy. And then I like to share them on Facebook. So this is one of these little compositions. There is not, I'm going to ask for silence. Because I hear you guys and kind of distract me.
We have to be quiet.
The microphone is
I'm
not
one
out.
of the ones talking. We have to be quiet. Toni, be quiet. Respect the mic.
There is not one heart that does not rock when given a fair chance to rock. I'm looking at my rocks put together and can't help but thinking how beautiful they are in their contrast and harmony. Remembering words that puzzled me long time ago when I first heard them. Be still and know that I am. Rocks in their stillness bear knowledge. When assembled, they gain power. The pure nurturing energy of nature. The constructive power of creativity from the eye of one who can stand the worshipping of wars and mad institutions that have kept the world running in cycle of destruction and absurdity, and seeks refuge in the wilderness, in its stillness infused with perpetual motion. Life cycles are the way, and we will walk astray as long as we keep our eyes closed to the beauty difference brings, and our ears closed to the voice that speaks only in silence. The end. I have more, one that's kind of a little pep talk. Breathe deeper, drink your water, keep your thoughts light. Best way to fight the stress, the mess, and let humor be your armor. And this last poem is for indigenous people, so it actually spells out indigenous. Ignorance never did ignite growth. Existence needs original, universal substance.
Thank you, Veronique. Thank you, Veronique. I'm fine with the small on mic. Asha, I really appreciate you. Raphael, thank you so much. My foundation, Dexter Roberts, I appreciate you all. Is it 3 o'clock? It's 3:05. Chad, I think we need to sign off. Did we hear from all of our poets who had checked in, Chad?
You're on mute, Chad. Chad, you're still mute.
We're going to sign off with Tisnia Pinchback's video, and then I think we're done.
Okay. What? I think I'm going to close out then, right? Thank you. I'm going to close out the way I should have started. Thank you all for coming. Poets in the Garden will occur, probably 6 months next year during the whole growing season. Poets in the Garden, and we will be poets who are performing in the garden. That's simply it. We want to be present in an improbable place. It was this whole improbable place poetry store. Blah, blah, blah. I'm stumbling over my words because I need to eat. So we're going to head on out. And we're going to head on out in this way. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh always be there. If we get to see tomorrow, what? Why?
It's so
Hard to say goodbye. I know the whole song. To yesterday. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. I knew this whole song this morning. Shout out to Boys to Men. It's very hard to say goodbye to yesterday. But yesterday was when we weren't welcome to people in the garden. Yesterday was the last time that I had a poetry event in the garden and the police showed up. Or in the park, my fault, in the park. No more of that. Let Black and brown people gather. Let people of color gather. Let different folks gather, white folks too, and let's be welcome to them all. No matter where we are, Poets in the Garden will continue. We'll have different themes. I ain't always protesting. I'm a pretty sexy lady who just wants to read poetry and be joyous. You all are too. Sometimes I'm a Black girl, but really I'm just Toni Bee who be bugging and reading stories and poetry. And sometimes I can sing and sometimes I can remember the lyrics. So expect more from Poets in the Garden. Chad Parento, thank you. Cambridge City Growers, all of my sponsors, Cambridge City Growers, Dexter Roberts, Fig Cambridge, Elon, Lizzle 4, thank you all for supporting this event. Poets in the Garden will continue. And thank you to everyone online who joined us. This video will be up for all to see. We thank you. I think we're going to actually continue here. It may be party a little bit, maybe have some more music and song, but I really appreciate everyone who came. Did you know that there are libraries really close by?
I think that concludes Toni's segment because it looks like she has muted herself, but we do have one more poet who I want to share with us, Tisnia Pinchback, whose video was not made available to me by accident. It is available now, so we're going to have that, and then we'll just conclude today's reading. I want to thank everyone who came. I want to thank those who stuck to the gun, who contributed, who stuck with us throughout the event. And this will be available later. Thank you all very much. And here is Tisnia now.
Hello. So this is my garden. And of course, my garden would be right along in here. But it is late in the season for that, so all my blooms are gone. But this is one of my favorite places, my backyard. It's beautiful this time of year. It's
Toni.
Thank you. Hey, oops, how do you reverse this? Hi. There. That's the finger. Thank you, Asha.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. Hi, Sarah Tuttle. It's great to see you. Chad Parento, thank you so much. I think the last person that you saw was Tazinia Pinchback. She's a wonderful, funny lady and great storyteller. I just thank you so much, Chad, for holding it down. Everyone's leaving now. And thank you, Blackyard Cambridge, for all of your support. I feel this has been wonderful. And Poets in the Garden will not stop, right, Chad?
That's
We're not going to
correct.
stop. And we're going to be collaborating too. I think we might need to get to Blair Pond as well. That's one of the Sarah Tuttle's projects. So I just want to say thank you before we sign off. Thank you for all of your patience and time.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go and say so long to the people. Is that okay? Thank you, chatters. I'll be talking to all my good friends who I see here later.
Awesome.
It's beautiful this time of year. It's beautiful in spring, it's beautiful in summer, and it's really stark and lovely in the winter as well. This is one of my favorite places because there are always, there's just a million different birds back here, and sometimes there are, sometimes we have little turkeys back here, so you never know what you're going to find when you come back here in the garden. And I spend the majority of springtime and summer really just hanging out my bedroom and bathroom windows, taking pictures of birds. That's my daughter trying to move out of the way of my camera. So nature really is calming for me. So I love to be in the garden. I love to be outside. And even on a day like today, when it is amazingly humid for some strange reason so late in the season. So and these are my glasses that are falling off my face because because it's so humid. But so today I want to thank Toni Bee for inviting me to read. So I'm going to read one of my favorite poems about Plymouth, Massachusetts. So here goes. Bear with me because I'm, pulling double duty. I'm the filmmaker, cinematographer, and the reader. So this piece is The Wash Ashore. I live in a hutch by the bay, with more windows than rooms, more books than shoes, more teacups, mismatched handles half glued to their porcelain sides than hours in the day, and an ocean, 100 paces to the east, that rises twice on the dial to curtsy. This small hutch, its vinyl shutters painted midnight blue, that cackle and croon with each visiting squall, is poorly clothed for winter. The cold licking its doors jam, sliding under the sill, fingering each room and shelf only to bear witness at the radiator's lip, or to dance in the steam of a kettle, and it dresses too warm for summer's glare. This hutch, flanked by pantries that gift honeycomb and clove, almond flour and meringue, gold-colored squash left beside the unlatched gate. Take what you need, leave what you can spare. Grants shelter to a wash-ashore, a weed sown in year-round sunshine on a hot seismic bed. The blood in my vein runs parallel the Pacific, echoing both a savage and delicate life force, animating this body, but for a shimmer of necrosis made mostly of water. Still, this hutch, erected in the year of our Lord 1800, that neither stands out nor blends in, and swells to twice its size with laughter, waves me in to shore. My name is written on its stone. This is home. Thank you.
Thank you, Tisnia, and thanks to Sarah, and thanks to Toni Bee and company. And all of you have a very good day. Long live the Gardens of Cambridge.